Chapter 3. The Book of the Adhan and the Sunnah regarding it. Chapter 1. How the Adhan began. It was narrated from Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Zayd that his father said that the Messenger of Allah was thinking of a horn, and he commanded that a bell be made, and it was done. Then Abdullah bin Zayd had a dream. He said, I saw a man wearing two green garments, carrying a bell. I said to him, O slave of Allah, will you sell the bell? He said, what will you do with it? I said, I will call the people to prayer. He said, shall I not tell you of something better than that? I said, what is it? He said, say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala falah, alal falah, Hayya alal falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is a messenger of Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is a messenger of Allah. Come to prayer, come to prayer, come to the prosperity, come to the prosperity. Allah is the most great. Allah is the most great. None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. Abdullah bin Zayd went out and came to the Messenger of Allah and told him what he had seen. He said, O Messenger of Allah, I saw a man wearing two green garments carrying a bell. And he told him the story. The Messenger of Allah said, your companion has had a dream. Go out with Bilal to the mosque and teach it to him. for he was a louder voice than you. I, Abdullah, went out with Bilal to the mosque, and I started teaching him the words, and he was calling them out. Umar al-Khattab heard a voice and came out saying, O Messenger of Allah, by Allah, I saw the same dream as him. Hassan Abu Ubaid said. Abu Bakr al-Hakami told me that Abdullah bin Zayd al-Ansari said concerning that, I praise Allah, the possessor of majesty and honor, a great deal of praise for the Adhan, since the news of it came to me from Allah. So due to it, I was honored by the information during the 3 nights, each of which increased me in honor. It was narrated from Salim, from his father, that the Prophet consulted the people as to how he could call them to the prayer. They suggested a horn, but he disliked that because of the Jews, because the Jews used the horn. Then they suggested a bell, but he disliked that because of the Christians, because the Christians used a bell. Then that night the call to the prayer was shown in a dream to a man among the Ansar, whose name was Abdullah bin Zayd, and to Umar bin Khattab. The Ansari man came to the Messenger of Allah at night, and the Messenger of Allah commanded Bilal to give the call to the prayer. Daif Suri said, Bilal added the phrase, As-salatu kairum minan nawm, the prayer is better than sleep, to the call for the morning prayer, and the Messenger of Allah approved of that. Umar said, O Messenger of Allah, I saw the same as he did, but he beat me to it. Chapter 2. Repeating the words in the Adhan. Ibn Jurayj narrated, Abdul Aziz bin Abdul Malik bin Abu Madhura narrated from Abdullah bin Muhayris, who was an orphan under the care of Abu Madhura bin Miyar, that when he was preparing him to travel to Sham, he said, "O my uncle, I am going out to Sham, and I will be asked about how you started the Adhan." So he informed me that Abu Madhura said, "I went out with a group of people, and we were somewhere on the road when the Muaddin of the Messenger of Allah gave the call to prayer in the presence of the Messenger of Allah. We heard the voice of the Muaddin, and we were shunning it, the Adhan, so we started yelling, imitating it and mocking it. The Messenger of Allah heard us, so he sent some people who brought us to sit in front of him. He said, 'Who is the one whose voice I heard so loud?' The people all pointed to me, and they were telling the truth. He sent them all away, but kept me there and said to me, 'Stand up and give the call to prayer.' I stood up, and there was nothing more hateful to me than the Messenger of Allah, and when he was telling me to do, I stood up in front of the Messenger of Allah, and the Messenger of Allah himself taught me the call. He said, 'Say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah." Then he said, "Raise your voice and say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya alal salah, Hayya alal salah, Hayya ala falah, Hayya alal falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah." I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Come to the prayer, come to the prayer, come to the prosperity, come to the prosperity. Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great. None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. Then he called me when I had finished saying the Adhan, and gave me a small bag in which there was some silver. Then he put his hand on the forelock of Abu Madhura, then passed it over his face, then over his chest, and over his heart, until the hand of the Messenger of Allah reached his navel. Then the Messenger of Allah said, "May Allah bless you and send blessings upon you." I said, "O Messenger of Allah, do you command me to give the call to prayer in Makkah?" He said, "Yes, I command you to do so." Then all the hatred I had felt towards the Messenger of Allah disappeared, and was replaced with love for the Messenger of Allah. I came to Adhan bin Asid, the governor of the Messenger of Allah in Makkah, and gave the call to prayer with him by command of the Messenger of Allah. Sahih. He, Abdul Aziz, said, "Someone who met Abu Madhura told me the same as Abdullah bin Muhayris told me." It was narrated that Abu Madhura said, "The Messenger of Allah taught me the Adhan with 19 phrases, and the Iqama with 17. The Adhan is Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya alal salah, Hayya ala salal, Hayya alal falah, Hayya alal falah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Come to the prayer, come to the prayer. Come to the prosperity, come to the prosperity. Allah is the most great, Allah is the most great. None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. And the Iqama is 17 phrases. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya alal salah. Hayya alal salah. Hayya ala falal. Falah. Hayya alal falah. Kad kamatis salah. Kad kamatis salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Allah is the most great. 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 I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Come to the prayer, come to the prayer. Come to the prosperity, come to the prosperity. The prayer is about to begin. The prayer is about to begin. Allah is the most great. Allah is the most great. None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. Great Sahih. Chapter 3. The Sunnah regarding the Adhan. Abdur Rahman bin Saad bin Ammar bin Saad, who was the Muaddin of the Messenger of Allah, narrated from his grandfather that the Messenger of Allah commanded Bilal to put his fingers in his ears when calling the Adhan, and he said, "It makes the voice louder." Great Da'if. It was narrated from Avn bin Abu Juhayfa that his father said, "I came to the Messenger of Allah in Abta when he was in a red tent. Bilal came out and gave the call to prayer, turning around and putting his fingers in his ears." Great Hassan. It was narrated that Ibn Umar said, "The Messenger of Allah said, there are two characteristics in which the Muslims are dependent upon their muaddins, their prayer and their fasting." Great Da'if. It was narrated that Jabir bin Samura said, "Bilal did not delay the Adhan from its proper time, but he sometimes delayed the Iqama a little." Great Da'if. It was narrated that Uthman bin Abul As said, "The last instruction that the Messenger of Allah gave to me was that I should not appoint a muaddin who took payment for the Adhan." Sahih. It was narrated that Bilal said, "The Messenger of Allah commanded me with tatwib in the Adhan for Fajr, and he forbade me to do so in the Adhan for Isha." Great Da'if. It was narrated that Bilal came to the Prophet to call him for the Fajr prayer and was told, "He is sleeping." He said, "As-salatu khairum minan nawm. As-salatu khairum minan nawm." The prayer is better than sleep. The prayer is better than sleep. These words were approved of in the Adhan for the Fajr, and that is how it remained. Great Da'if. It was narrated that Ziyad bin Harith as-Sudai said, "I was with the Messenger of Allah on a journey, and he commanded me to call the Adhan. Bilal wanted to call the Iqama, but the Messenger of Allah said, 'The brother of Suda called the Adhan, and the one who calls the Adhan is the one who calls the Iqama.'" Great Da'if. Chapter 4. What should be said when the muaddin calls the Adhan? It was narrated that Abu Huraira said, "The Messenger of Allah said, when the muaddin calls the Adhan, say as he says." Great Hassan. Habiba narrated that when the Messenger of Allah was with her on her day and night, and heard the Muaddin calling the Adhan, she heard him saying what he said, "Great Hassan." It was narrated that Abu Sayyid al-Khudri said, "The Messenger of Allah said, when you hear the call to prayer, say what the Muaddin says, Great Sahih." It was narrated from Sa'd bin Abu Waqqas that the Messenger of Allah said, whoever says, when he hears the Muaddin, "Wa ana ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu radaitu billahi rabban wa bil islami dinan wa bi Muhammadin nabiyan, and I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah alone, with no partner, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his slave and messenger, and I am content with Allah as my Lord, Islam as my religion, and Muhammad as my prophet. His sins will be forgiven to him. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Jabir bin Abdullah said, the Messenger of Allah said, whoever says when he hears the call to the prayer, Allahumma rabba hadhihid da watit tama was salatil kaima ati Muhammadanil wasilata wal fadila wab athu makaman mamuddaniladi wadta. O Allah, Lord of this perfect call and the prayer to be offered, grant Muhammad the privilege of intercession and also the eminence, and resurrect him to the praised position that you have promised. My intercession for him will be permitted on the day of resurrection. Great Sahih. Chapter 5. The virtue of the Adhan and the reward of the Muaddin. It was narrated from Abdullah bin Abdur Rahman bin Abu Sassa that his father, who was under the care of Abu Sayyid, said, Abu Sayyid said to me, if you are in the desert, raise your voice when you say the Adhan, for I heard the Messenger of Allah say, no jinn, human, tree or rock will hear it, but it will bear witness for you. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Abu Hurairah said, I heard the Messenger of Allah himself say, the Muaddin's sins will be forgiven as far as his voice reaches, and every wet and dry thing will pray for forgiveness for him. For the one who attends the prayer, 25 hasanat, good deeds, will be recorded, and it will be expiation for sins committed between them, the two prayers. Great Hassan. It was narrated that Essa bin Tala said, I heard Muawiyah bin Abu Sufyan say that Messenger of Allah said, the Muaddin will have the longest necks of all people on the day of resurrection. Great Sahih. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, the Messenger of Allah said, let the best of you give the call to prayer, Adhan, and let those who are most versed in the Quran lead you in prayer. Great Daif. It was narrated that Ibn Abbas said, the Messenger of Allah said, whoever calls the Adhan for 7 years, seeking reward from Allah, Allah will decree for him deliverance from the fire. Great Daif. It was narrated from Ibn Umar that the Messenger of Allah said, whoever calls the Adhan for 12 years, he will be guaranteed paradise, and for each day 60 hasanat, good deeds, will be recorded for him by virtue of his Adhan, and 30 hasanat by virtue of his Ikama. Great Daif. Chapter 6. saying the phrases of the Iqama once. It was narrated that Anas bin Malik said, "They looked for something by means of which they could call out informing of the time of the prayer. Then Bilal was commanded to say the phrases of the Adhan twice, and the phrases of the Iqama once. Great Sahih." It was narrated that Anas said, "Bilal was commanded to say the phrases of the Adhan twice and the phrases of the Iqama once." Great Sahih. Abdur Rahman bin Saad bin Ammar bin Saad narrated from his great-grandfather of the Messenger of Allah that in the Adhan of Bilal the phrases were 2 by 2, and in his Iqama they were said once. Great Da'if. It was narrated that Abu Rafi said, "I saw Bilal calling the Adhan in front of Allah's Messenger, saying the phrases 2 by 2, and saying each phrase once in the Iqama. Great Da'if." And saying each phrase once in the Iqama. Great Da'if. Chapter 7. If the Adhan is called and you are in the mosque, then do not leave. It was narrated that Abu Shatta said, "We were sitting in the mosque with Abu Huraira when the Muaddin called the Adhan. A man got up and walked out of the mosque, and Abu Huraira followed him with his gaze until he left the mosque. Then Abu Huraira said, 'This man has disobeyed Abul Qasim.' Great Sahih." It was narrated that Uthman said, "The Messenger of Allah said, whoever hears the Adhan when he is in the mosque, then goes out and does not go out for any legitimate need, and does not intend to return, is a hypocrite." Great Da'if.